Hello and welcome to Real Actors, Real Answers, the podcast where you are the star. Today, I would like to interview and introduce to you Tim Storms. Tim Storms he's an actor. He is a stuntman. First time I ever interviewed a stuntman before. He lives in West LA and he has a story to tell. I want you to put your ears on and I want you to listen close because you're going to be entertained as well as educated. Tim Storms, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. How's Los Angeles?
It's a little warm today, but it's nice.
So tell us a little bit about you. You're an actor. You mentioned to me earlier something about Shakespeare, and you're a stuntman for the movies. How did that all come about?
As a little kid, I grew up in a small town, southern Minnesota. And my family was very artistic. We did a lot of theater together, but I was always in the technical aspects of theater, doing lights and sound. My family always did that part of it. Some of us did performance, so I was used to that, but I was a little shy as a kid. But as far as movement and things like that, I started gymnastics when I was 4 years old, and martial arts when I was 12. So I very quickly learned how to choreograph fights, fall down without getting hurt, and put together fight choreography, things like that. So I very quickly moved into that aspect of theater and local productions, student films, things like that. So I was very used to that side of the camera and stage, et cetera, et cetera. Then growing up, I did get interested in performing. So I started doing local productions of theater, as well as I became a circus clown, a lot of juggling and tightrope walking and things like that, acrobatics. I performed all over the country, and that led to some scholarships in theater. And so I transferred a lot of that to going to school to get my degree in classical and musical theater. And I specialized in Shakespearean theater because it interested me a lot and turned out well. So,
who is your favorite actor or favorite stuntman? Do you have any people that you look up to?
I do. I love, and he's the reason why I got into Shakespearean theater, Sir Patrick Stewart, who I first saw him in Excalibur, and I was just astounded by his range. And then going to school, I got a lot more experience to the Royal Shakespearean Company, his work there. So I was very intrigued with that, and I explored that a lot more. And then in tandem with doing stunt work and fights and things like that. So I moved out to LA after I graduated from college. And my first big movie was Robin Hood Men in Tights, where I got to play one of the men in tights, and Sir Patrick Stewart was actually on that. And I was just astounded. And I got to talk to him and meet him, and we had a great time. Down the road a bit, about 10, maybe 15 years ago, I had the opportunity to start doubling him on movies. So I am Patrick Stewart's stunt double. I've done several shows with him. We did Logan together, a British comedy called Blunt Talk, a lot of commercials and things like that. And just recently, we just finished 3 seasons of Star Trek Picard. So I was pretty integral in that. I got to stunt double him, body double, acting double. Just anytime they needed me to fill in, my hands, the back of my head, doing dialogue with his co-stars. So that was a dream come true. And we're good friends now. So it comes around full circle. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. Wow, that's amazing. How do I follow up on that? Now, when you say stunt double, I understand what stand-in is, okay, being a stand-in. But you said stunt double. Give us an example of Patrick Stewart in the Star Trek series and you came in as a stunt double. What do you what do you do?
Typically, a stunt double will do the action for an actor. If we have a fight scene or a falling down or heavy running or just things that we think that the actor might be in jeopardy. We want to protect the actor, and that doesn't always have to be falling down or getting hurt. Sometimes it's just it takes endurance. It takes, if we have to do a heavy duty running scene for over and over and over, they'll put me in. But at Sir Patrick's advanced age now, I fill in the blanks in a lot of ways. It's like I said, we don't want to keep an older actor like that on set as long. So I body double. I can fill in and do the scenes for him because I'm such a close match to him. They can do his scenes over my shoulder with his co-stars. So, I'll end up doing the dialogue with them every once in a while. So there's quite an overlap now of stunt double, body double, stand-in, acting double, et cetera, et cetera. But usually there's a pretty clear line separating those things. A stand-in is there typically for the camera setups and lighting and things like that, the technical aspects of it. I am there for when the camera's rolling and the performance side of it. I'm also Sir Patrick's personal trainer too, so a lot of it has to do with keeping him in shape and going on set and helping him keep his energy up and things like that when it comes to actually filming a scene, making sure he's in the best possible shape. If he has to kneel down, I'm going to put some knee pads on him. There are always things that the camera crew isn't responsible for, that somebody has to be thinking of to keep the safety of an actor, So
Wow.
All those.
I would say that you're brave.
I wouldn't say brave. I'd say I'm lucky.
Okay. Now you obviously need to keep in shape as well. How do you do that?
I work out a lot. As I said, I started out as a gymnast. And I'm still a trainer. I teach stunt work. I have my own stunt school where I teach fight choreography and wire work, like in The Matrix. I actually learned how to do that on The Matrix. I trained Lawrence Fishburne and Keanu and Carrie Ann, the gymnastics parts of that. And that's when I got involved in all the wire flying and things like that. Now that's, I made my reputation on that, and that's pretty much what I specialize in, fights and wire flying and things like that. So, yeah.
So that those stunts that they do, that wasn't just extraordinary capabilities. It was on wires.
Yes. Some people don't understand that.
Wow, this is amazing. Have you ever done anything else besides acting and stunt work to make a living?
To make a living? Sure. I was a waiter. I did roofing, construction. Even still, whenever I have downtime, and even when I don't, like I said, I have my own school. So teaching has always been a huge aspect of what I do, and training other people, because I like to put all those various aspects of what I've done as far as movement and training together. Acting, fight choreography, wires, gymnastics. I was an Olympic level gymnastics coach for almost 30 years, in tandem with acting and stunts and things like that. So I've always been involved in movement. I was a professional dancer, singer. So a lot of it has been performance based, but I've done regular jobs as well, just to keep things going and to spice things up. But I like to keep my hand in a lot of different aspects of, especially performance, but I like to do a lot of things in life.
I like that. You're active and you're loving your life.
Yeah.
What are you working on now? You working on anything currently?
We are on strike currently, so I am not really working on anything in the business, trying to support the strike as much as possible, but as well teaching. So I'm really pumping up training other people and expanding my school, and that's doing really well. So I love doing that, and that keeps me very occupied.
I like that. I was telling my students, because I'm an acting coach too, and I was telling my students that, okay, the strike is on. I get that. It's true. Okay. However, what you just said, in the meantime, you're studying, you're developing yourself, you're preparing when it's over, because everything has a beginning, middle, and end. Okay. However it ends. But you're going to be prepared instead of just sitting back. Oh, well, what am I going to do? You ask yourself, what am I going to do? You're taking time for your school, for training other students and things. I admire that. I really do. You don't, you're not a quitter.
No, I don't like to sit still. I like to keep things going. And the more I can teach, the more I always look at myself as a student, and I'm learning every single time I teach someone else. And I like to get involved in that too, especially the active things that I do, fight choreography. I'm always in there kicking and punching and, taking reactions and things like that. So I think that's integral when you're teaching. I like to stay a part of that and not just, expounding upon the knowledge of it, but it's also, the practical aspects of that.
Right. If someone wanted to be a stunt man or a stunt woman, what kind of things would you tell them to go for first? How would they study? How would they start?
First of all, look at the base of what you want to do. It's everybody thinks that stunt performers are just physically performing the action, whether it's a car crash or falling off a building or being lit on fire or a fight scene. But they don't realize that acting is actually a huge part of that. We're still acting as stunt performers. It's just in a different degree. It's physical, and it's usually a lot more physical than what a regular actor is used to. So we're expanding on that. And I really made my reputation in my early years on being a stunt performer who could act. So I got a lot of great roles that way. So I never even called myself a stunt man. I always said I'm an action actor. So I actually in the beginning of my career, I refused to even double people. I wanted to be playing the role, to be playing the character, and then adding on to the action and doing my own action with that. Like Jackie Chan. I wanted to be the character, and so I've moved. I do a little bit more doubling now when it comes to like Sir Patrick Stewart or other. I've been really blessed to double a lot of amazing actors that people know of, but I still really love the being on camera part of it and being a character. I'm a character actor, and having a theater background, especially, I love, getting into a character's skin and really inhabiting that other person and showing that, and that's always been my dream, and it's always been part of my approach, in theater and on screen and film and commercials and everything else. So I like to play with that. So
what has been your favorite role to date?
My favorite role, I really loved being in Spider-Man 2. It was a big stunt role, but I also got to play, I played a la Sam Raimi chainsaw doctor. So I was a surgeon with a chainsaw, but I got to be thrown about the operating room by Dr. Octopus. So
that was you.
Yes, that was me.
Okay, then this was they had Spider-Man and then Spider-Man 2.
Yes, Tobey Maguire era.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd say that's one of my favorites. Going back to doubling Patrick Stewart, it's considered a stunt job, but as I said, I was filling in a lot more. I got to actually do dialogue with his co-stars, so that was one of the most rewarding and challenging acting roles, to actually physically inhabit Patrick Stewart playing Jean-Luc Picard. Same thing in Logan, playing Professor X. So I got to do double duty. I got to be Patrick Stewart, but also these iconic characters that everybody knows, and to pass that off to an audience where they believe that when they see me, it's actually him playing the character, then, I think I've been successful that way, which is pretty amazing. So it's not always the big roles where I'm on screen, even though I've played some fantastic roles and been really lucky that way. Sometimes you don't realize it's even me, and I'm thrilled with those kind of roles as well. So
okay. You said you did dialogue for Patrick Stewart. Now, you don't sound like Patrick Stewart. Did you have to learn his dialect, how he speaks?
I did. Oh yes, I studied him as much as I could, exactly how he talked and walked, and I'm not trying. I almost felt bad when I would put on the character, because I could fool a lot of people. It's, people would be in the next room thinking that Patrick was filming a scene. So I got away with it, but mimicry, I sometimes felt like I wasn't doing him justice, even though that was what I was there for. So, I did what I was supposed to do, but sometimes I felt a little off, because I was trying to inhabit that character, which is actually Patrick Stewart as well. So
you were integral. You took it to heart. That's the difference between mimicry and, which is really all about yourself. Okay.
Yes.
And committing yourself to this role and supporting the authentic, in your case, the authentic character of Patrick Stewart, Captain Picard. So yeah. I love that's wow. You have led and are leading, because, like I said, the strike will be over and everything will go back to a different way. But hey, it has to have an ending.
Yes.
Wow. Where is your school exactly? What is it called again?
It's called Action Planet LA. It's on Instagram, and we've got a website, and it's getting quite popular now. So I'm thrilled with that.
Now it's in-person training, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm thinking of different people that I know in Los Angeles. I'm gonna let them know about your school.
Great. We actually, I've been so surprised that there's such the niche that I have is so particular that I actually have people flying in from all over the globe to train with us, because you don't get this kind of training anywhere. And it's especially with the background that I have, and as long as I've been doing it, I think that we do it right. And I'm very thorough with teaching. I like to have a full curriculum and very particular progressive type of teaching that even beginners can can learn something. We're geared up for the top professionals in the stunt business, but we also cater to just regular actors who want to learn these things. And now we've actually expanded that. So we have what's called the Hollywood Action Experience, and people like YouTubers especially fly in from all over the globe. And we host people from Latin America and Europe and everywhere that they want to come, and they do that kind of training with us now. So we're doing that all the time. It's pretty amazing.
That is amazing. It must be. I mean, it's a lot of work, of course, but it's fun too, right?
It is. I've always said I could never do a desk job, but I was raised in southern Minnesota, in a small farming town. Great work ethic. So I learned how to work hard as a kid. We had a big family. My dad was a teacher, so we were always put to work. And I learned how to work from a very early age, and I always embraced that. I've always loved working, and I'm very particular about the way I approach things. So the type of things that I've done, gymnastics and martial arts, where precision is key, I've always embraced that, and I've always I'm very patient, and in fact, to a fault, I am a perfectionist when it comes to learning how to do things. And I've never really thought that I could do something to my best ability unless I can actually teach it to someone else. And that has always been the proof for me. If I can show somebody else how to do it correctly and I see the results, then I've learned it to my best ability.
That's a real teacher. Teachers realize, coaches realize, or they should, they're also a student, because I'm telling you, I'm learning so much from you today, okay? And I learned so much just listening. Listening is everything. Listening to my students. Everybody has a different background. Everybody has something unique to share in this industry.
Yes.
If someone wanted to look you up, find you, contact you, how would they do that?
You can go to Instagram. I'm on my personal is Storms Tim on Instagram. Also Action Planet LA. I am Action Planet LA with my crew. So we have a website, Instagram. We're on Facebook as well. So Instagram and the website are probably the easiest ways to contact me, but I'm all over the place. I'm on LinkedIn as well, which is, I think, where you and I connected. So I'm on there as well.
Now I understand. And you've been gifted with a great last name for what you do, Storms. I mean, it's very active, and it fits you. It sounds like a superhero name, like the Hulk, David Banner. Tim Storms plays, what was he in the X-Men? The guy that caught fire all the time. What was it?
In the X-Men?
Yeah.
There was
the Torch.
That he was Fantastic Four.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah.
You're talking to a Marvel nerd here. So that was it. To play Professor X in Logan with Hugh Jackman carrying me around and me rolling around in a wheelchair was one of the pinnacles of my career. So it's the great superheroes movies that I've been able to do have just been a dream come true. So
Hugh Jackman is one of my favorite
he is
actors of all time. It's just, and he's humble. He's integral. From what I've seen in his interviews anyway,
he's amazing. I got to work with him on Swordfish as well, which was one of my first big movies. And he was just so giving. He would actually sit down with me, and I was just playing a small character, and to have lunch, and he would just started talking. And I remember I got a card in the mail near the end of filming saying Hugh has donated in your name for your great work on Swordfish to this animal, shelter. So he's just a beautiful man and just so caring. And then working on Logan with him again, it was just phenomenal because it was just me and Patrick Stewart and him in the room all the time for several days. And I was geeking out the entire time. And he was so giving, like I said, he's carrying me around, and they have this big, I fall out of the wheelchair and he picks me up and all these other things. And he's such a giving actor. He's always right there. And even for, a humble stunt guy like me, he pays attention and he gives you everything back that you're giving to him. And it's just wonderful.
That's really a blessing. Do you belong to an agency? You want to give a shout out for anybody?
I don't have an agent right now because actually during filming of Picard, I had an agent, and then she transferred over and started producing. So I lost my agent, and just because I was so busy filming, I couldn't commit to anything. So I haven't gotten back into that. And I've just been so busy with my school too. So I plan on getting back into that. I'm starting to slowly roll back into the acting part of it. So I'm doing shorts and some TV shows and things like that. And hopefully those will really expand when we're back from the strike, and I'll be able to pick up some good acting roles. And so that's my hope from there. So
Excellent. Tim Storms.
Yes, sir.
It's a privilege to meet you, and I'm glad I found you on LinkedIn. Thank you for being on Real Actors, Real Answers. It's been educational and exciting. It really has.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. We'll be keeping an eye on you and as well as your school.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.